Hey, it's Aaron from CY Exotics. Figured I'd do a quick care video on terrestrial frogs, PacMans, Pixies, tomatoes, any type of terrestrial frog really. What I have here is just a quarantine tote. So this is how I house all my PacMan frogs individually. Do not put PacMan frogs together. They are cannibalistic. They're called PacMan frogs because they're all mouth and stomach. So they will try to eat each other even if they're the same size. So PacMans I always house individually, and all I do is I get a plastic shoebox. Really cheap, you get them anywhere. I go through and I drill holes down the side for ventilation. Sometimes I'll drill holes in the lid too. And all this does is just really help trap in the humidity. You know, the air holes are letting some ventilation in, so they're getting fresh air, but it's also trapping in that humidity. Any frog, they need really moist, humid environments. So you see even the substrate in here is very well hydrated. It's not wet and soupy, but you can see that it's just really dark and damp. Shallow water dish, just so they can soak in. Frogs don't drink water like we do. What they do when they want to get hydrated is they'll sit in their water dish and park their butts in there, and they actually absorb water through their skin and cloaca. And the cloaca is where everything comes out too. So setups like this is really good to house individual frogs. And not only do I have PacMan frogs housed like this, I also have Pixie frogs. And just shallow water dish, a couple fake plants. Pixie frogs you can put together when they're juveniles. They're not as cannibalistic as PacMan frogs. They'll eat whatever fits in their mouth, but if they're the same size, they won't harm each other. As they grow up, they can start fighting, but as juveniles, you can house them together. And once again, just really damp soil, water dish, frog. And then we'll show you the next one. And in here I have some tomato frogs. This is a naturalistic vivarium setup for them. It's a Exoterra 24 long, 18-inch deep by 12 high. It has a custom grease stuff foam background with cork. And I also have a piece of glass across the top with a little slit here for extra ventilation. With that and the front ventilation, and that creates a nice airflow to get them plenty of fresh oxygen, and it also doesn't let the condensation and algae build up on the front glass, so I always have a clear view. In here, I'm using peat moss, sand, and charcoal all mixed together as a substrate. Same thing I use for the PacMan and Pixie frogs. I got peperomia everywhere running rampant in here. This just grows plants like crazy. And let's find some tomato frogs real quick. So here's a tomato frog back here. I have 6 of them in here living together. They do perfect communally. They have really tiny mouths. They can't cannibalize on each other like the PacMan and Pixie frogs can. So you can have multiple together. The only thing you gotta be careful of is they do secrete a mucus that's almost like glue. So if you try to handle them or touch them too much, they'll get stressed out and produce this white slimy slime across their back, and it acts like glue. So you can, get your fingers stuck together. Just make sure if you ever touch them, you wash your hands right away. But also all that mucus can also pollute and tox out the substrate for the frog. So if you have a bunch of giant frogs in here, the amount of pee and mucus and ammonia created by them living in here will kind of flush everything out. So then you have to change the substrate often. With 6 tiny little frogs in this big of space, not worried about it. The bacteria and everything in the soil will handle most of that. But if they were giant full-size tomato frogs, 6 of them in here, I'd be changing the substrate every couple of weeks. But yeah, this is a nice naturalistic vivarium. If you guys have any more questions, feel free to comment. Always happy to answer. And I'll always make follow-up videos too on how everything's doing. If you guys are interested, make sure you like and subscribe, and I appreciate it. And I'll see you guys next time.